Ladies and gentlemen, hey, hi, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. As we know, coming up later on this year, this fall, we're going to see the next installment in the Call of Duty franchise. I know, surprise, surprise, it's a new year, there's going to be a new Call of Duty. Now, as we've previously discussed several times, this year's COD is reportedly known as Black Ops Gulf War, the next iteration into the Black Ops franchise, loosely following on the events of Black Ops Cold War, obviously just set in the 90s and based around the US and the CIA's involvement in the Gulf War. And with this, recently we actually got some new leaks and some new rumors in regards to some potential timelines for Black Ops Gulf War, and I wanted to talk about the greater Warzone and Black Ops Gulf War integration that we're going to be seeing happen this time around, because there's a few things, some good and some bad, that I wanted to point out and sort of discuss here today. So as we go through everything, if you enjoy the video, do me a favor and drop a like on it. As always, it really does help grow the channel. And if you're new to the channel or you simply have not subscribed yet, let's change that, because every single day I got you covered with news, updates, patch notes, meta breakdowns, really all things going on in COD are right here. So feel free to hit that sub button and turn on those post notifications. Now, first things first, when it comes to the Gulf War timeline, we've already talked about a handful of leaks and rumors stemming from various different sources: Windows Central, Charlie Intel, Tom Henderson, and Insider Gaming, so on and so forth, about sort of a staggered release this year when it comes to what content will be available at what time. Now, the big thing is a supposed October launch in and of itself for the premium Black Ops Gulf War title. This would include campaign, multiplayer, and zombies. Warzone obviously to come at a later date, and we'll touch on that here in just a moment. But per the various rumors and leaks that we've heard up until this point, and keep in mind at the end of the day, this is just rumors and leaks, so things absolutely could change, shift in terms of timelines, in terms of what's dropping when, so take everything here with a grain of salt. But reportedly, we're going to have a multi-week early access period if you pre-order for zombies gameplay. They're really going all in on zombies this year. It's the return to that classic Treyarch round-based zombies gameplay that we haven't seen since Cold War, and fans for zombies have really been wanting to see return. So supposedly, if you pre-order, you could get, like, let's say 2 weeks early access of just strictly zombies gameplay. Now, the campaign early access that we've seen in the past couple of years has been wildly successful, even if the campaigns, MW3, I'm looking at you, were not wildly successful. The pre-orders were up and plenty of players were on the game during that early access playing the campaign, regardless of its length or its storytelling ability. And we're supposedly going to see a campaign early access period again, likely that 1 week early access period, just like the past couple of years, and then we'd see that full multiplayer launch. And if you don't pre-order, then you'd gain access to everything at the same time: multiplayer, zombies, campaign. It's all there like a standard Call of Duty launch. But recently, Crashty over on Twitter, not an easy name to say, previously Zesty COD Leaks, I believe, ended up teasing some more ambiguous, more broad dates. They said March, June, October, and January. And to this, a person by the name of Visceral responded and said March, Warzone Mobile; June, Gulf War reveal; October, Gulf War release; January, first big event for Gulf War. And again, credible leaks, credible rumors stemming from these accounts often. What can we sort of piece together here with those specific dates? Well, for Warzone, the biggest thing happening this month, and for Call of Duty, really the biggest thing happening this month, March, is Warzone Mobile's launch. That would certainly make sense. 21st, we saw that drop, so we've already got that sort of checked off and working in this sort of theory that we've got going on. June, the Gulf War reveal. Now, this would be a whole lot earlier than what we've seen in recent years. Obviously, we've had Call of Duty Next happening in the early fall, late summer the past couple of years, and it's its own thing. It's not tethered to any other mainstream gaming event or live stream or anything like that. It's its own Call of Duty sort of directed thing, where it's just straight up Call of Duty only for several hours on that day, revealing the new game, showing off gameplay. Campaign gets its time, multiplayer gets its time, Warzone gets its time. It's been a pretty successful thing, I would say, from Call of Duty's standpoint at least. However, we may actually see this return to that more standard reveal timeline for COD if things line up very conveniently, which it already seems they are, because it just so happens in June we're going to see Summer Games Fest. Jeff Keighley, the host of this, just revealed recently that Summer Games Fest is happening on June 7th, and previously, you know, way back in the day for COD, before we had COD Next and everything, the reveals would happen in summer, usually alongside E3, but that's no longer a thing, and Summer Game Fest is sort of the replacement and the you know, next up for that kind of event. So it would certainly make sense if we're going back to this more standard COD development cycle, obviously Gulf War being the most developed COD to date, having that 4-year dev time as opposed to anywhere between 16 months like with MW3 and 3 years with MW2. This certainly would make a lot of sense that we go back to more of a standard reveal time frame for everything. And then, of course, as we just discussed, Gulf War release in October. All the leaks, all the rumors that we've heard of up until this point would indicate that Gulf War is going to have that staggered release in October. The first big event, though, is my sort of big question mark here, happening in January. So with this dating back to Cold War in the very first Warzone integration, these have always happened in December, just before the holiday break, and for the most part the launches have been problematic, to say the least. Like, sure, the games might launch okay, but then in the coming days and weeks we find insane glitches that then persist throughout the holiday break, or super broken metas, or there's just problems that arise because of this, because it's a major integration update, right? And I would consider the integration with Warzone and whatever the premium title is, this case Gulf War, to be a very big event. Now, I guess what they consider to be the first big event, quote unquote, happening in January is subjective. Are we talking an actual in-game event, some kind of crossover or live in-game event? Are we talking the launch of a season? Are we talking the launch of the Gulf War integration? That we just don't know, so we sort of have to presume there, and you know, that is what it is. That's just the information that we have as of right now. But I would consider the Warzone integration to be the first big event of any new COD's year, right? Because that usually launches alongside Season 1, like we've seen, as mentioned, since Cold War's integration. So could this actually be something that's now shifting towards the start of the new year rather than just before the holiday break? History's been repeating itself. Cold War integration dropped, very buggy, very broken metas, broken attachments, all sorts of stuff like that. The demon blueprint glitch and everything like that. Vanguard integration dropped, very buggy, very broken. Console like couldn't play it hardly without having major graphical errors and all sorts of stutters and problems there. We also saw the Warzone 2 launch, and it was all right, but still really buggy from a gameplay standpoint. There are a lot of weird glitches and you know, stability issues going on there. And then even with the MW3 integration here, again, playable but not polished or perfect by any means. MTZ Interceptor, Wasp Swarm being super broken the entire break. Different bugs and glitches happening that weren't fixed because the devs were out of office, server issues and stuff like that. So all the integrations have been huge in and of themselves for what they're offering, but they've also been associated with problematic launches from a gameplay standpoint. So perhaps COD has learned its lesson and is shifting the launch of the Gulf War integration into January, so all the devs will be back from break, and that's when we see the launch of Season 1, and it can just be, you know, full steam ahead, no interruptions, nothing. We're just focusing on the launch and it being as smooth as possible. That's certainly an option, and it's just, again, a theory as of right now, a game theory nonetheless. Or, you know, they could do the standard thing and we see the integration happen in December. We see the Season 1 drop happen in December, and we do see like an actual major event of some kind, whether it be in-game, crossover, collaboration, something like that happening in January. Time is going to tell there, obviously, but that's the first thing to sort of pay attention to with the Black Ops Gulf War and Warzone integration. The next thing I would say, obviously, is going to be the content at hand. It's going to be a new integration, and so that means all of the Gulf War weapons and operators are going to be added into the mix here within Warzone, and presumably, since we're not seeing any major engine updates or you know, upgrades there, it's just going to be an integration that stacks on top of what we currently have, similar to, you know, Cold War and Vanguard being integrated back into Warzone 1. No major full reset here, so we'd be able to experience all the MW2 guns and attachments and operators, all the MW3 guns and attachments and operators, and then of course all the Gulf War guns and attachments and operators. The difference here, though, is that, as we know, every single COD now going forward, stemming from MW2 and on, is being built through the same engine from the ground up. Now, every game is going to have its own unique identity and play a certain way and feel a certain way, but the core engine across the board for every COD, regardless of developer or studio, Treyarch, Sledgehammer, Infinity Ward, Raven, it's all the same engine. So this means that we could very well see other significant upgrades happen with the Gulf War integration that we just haven't seen before. You know, back in Warzone 1, when we saw multiple games integrate, it was all still based around MW 2019's engine and that gameplay with the movement, the slide canceling, the graphics and everything going on there. However, now though, we've already seen MW3 integrated into Warzone, and because it had that shared engine, we saw the movement change from MW2's movement to MW3's movement. We saw base mechanics change from MW2 to MW3 to be more seamless across multiplayer and Warzone. So that means we could also end up seeing, major perk system overhauls with whatever is introduced in Gulf War. We could see major movement overhauls with whatever is introduced in Gulf War. This could be seen as a pro and a con, in my opinion. It's nice that in theory all the development for the new Warzone integrations should be more seamless because it's just one unified engine and not constantly trying to apply one thing in one engine versus having it go live in another for Warzone, but it's being developed, the premium titles being developed on a different engine. So that crossover and that conflict there no longer exists. That should be a good thing. But then also trying to have Warzone feel seamless to the multiplayer and the premium experience year over year could get kind of messy in the sense that the game is just never too consistent. One year we have this movement system and this perk system and these mechanics, but then the next year the game upgrades and changes things for the premium title, and so they change it for Warzone as well, and it's just this ever flipping thing or ever updating thing, which again could be good or could be bad depending on your viewpoint of it, but it is something to take note of for sure. Then lastly, when it comes to content map availability, obviously we're seeing Rebirth return here within MW3, so that should be available, obviously being a Black Ops themed map that we've seen throughout Blackout and the Cold War era of Warzone and everything. So Rebirth should be a mainstay, but also the big one, the big map leaks for COD 2024 and Black Ops Gulf War is that Verdansk is going to be returning as the big map in the fan favorite version. So that's another key thing to look out for as well. Overall, Gulf War's launch is going to be very interesting for a handful of reasons. The integration update has a lot of potential with now the 4-year dev time, the unified engine, the return of Verdansk, the actual multiplayer launch with everything being very developed again, but also the staggered release with zombies having its own time frame, campaign having its own time frame, multiplayer then seeing the premium launch. So a lot to look out for, of course, as we see anything official or any other new credible leaks or rumors. You guys know I'm going to have you covered with all the need-to-know details right as they happen. So stick it here for that alongside everything else going on in COD by hitting that subscribe button. And if you enjoyed the video, do me a favor and drop a like on your way out. But once again, thank you so much for tuning in. And until next time, take it easy, have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll catch you later. Peace out.